Hey guys. Oh, it's so bright. They have such a great HVAC guy here. It's so cold. Anyone? No? All right. I'm going to talk about culture. This is one of the things that's been really important for our company. We've grown really fast over the past few years. It's my fourth startup. Learned a bunch of lessons on the first ones and ended up putting some things in place that really helped us with this one. So, culture for the win. So, Kids Strong was something me and my wife, and we'll talk about some other people that built it, but we built it for our daughter Ella. She's in the middle. And if anybody is in need of some hyper good birth control, meet me after, and we'll put you on an airplane with those four. We just got back yesterday. But we built it for her, and the whole goal of the program was to give kids strength and confidence. That was our goal. And they're very confident and very loud. What we did, the thing that really helped us was early on, we got a lot of really good people involved. These are some of our co-founders. Bottom right for you guys is a picture from the early business. I hope there are no inspectors in here. This business would not have passed any inspections. It was probably borderline illegal, a lot of the stuff we were doing. A lot of concrete, exposed wiring. There's electricians in here. But we had really, really good people that we got involved early on onto the team. And we established a lot of cultural norms really early for the business. And if you can see, everyone is in the gear. We always wear the gear. That's kind of one of our things as well. But that is one of the things that help set the standard going forward for the company. So currently, 27,000 plus members. We start out with 25. That equals about 50,000 plus parents. 600 team members across the US and now Canada. And I'm only saying that because in a lot of stuff we're going to talk about, we made tons and tons of mistakes. So any advice that we give, it's not out of wisdom, it's more of out of we made lots of mistakes, and here's kind of how we come out on the other side. So when everyone hears about Kids Strong, they always say that is an amazing idea. And everyone loves the idea. And if you guys have been part of startups, you know how important the idea is. Bill Burr has a famous bit on Steve Jobs where he said, he basically walked into a room full of nerds and said, I want all of these songs on my phone, and walked out. Ideas are the easy part. And one of the things that we've learned in our culture and in our company, and of course other companies we've been involved with, ideas are super cheap. And a lot of it comes down to what is the team you can put together. And what I'm going to talk about today is kind of how we built our team. So it turns out there is an I in team. I didn't say it, John. I'm just putting a picture up. This is not how we build our team, but there are some teams that operate this way. I've been part of companies where they operate this way. I've also been in companies where teams don't do a whole lot. They don't work together very well. And if you guys have been in any sort of corporate structure, this is very true for a lot of meetings as well. This is our team. And I'll kind of go into how we built this. And this is a picture from a recent all hands that we had. This is at CityWorks at the Star. I'm not sure what we're doing in this photo. I'm probably the only one that didn't get the memo of what we're supposed to be looking at Camden. That's why I have the weird pose. Everyone else this is he just told a joke pose. But we just have an amazing culture at our company. And from that early team that we built, a lot of those early kind of rules that we've put in place has gotten us to the place we are. So part of it is tightly aligned, and how, what I'm going to talk about today is how we've aligned the team. Because building a team is one thing. It's hiring is tough, yes, but a lot of performance that teams are graded on, the business is graded on. It really comes down to how does the team get really aligned on what we're doing. There are a couple different ways to build teams. If anybody's seen any pirate movies, this is on the back of a lot of t-shirts, if you've seen the pirate shirts. And I've worked for some companies. I worked for the government for a little while. This is kind of like how we did things. And if you guys are Office fans, Michael Scott loves to be feared and loved. He wants people to be afraid of how much they love him. That's not how we build our teams, but there are teams that are built that way. One of the things we talk about, and I'm not an Alabama fan, I'm just, if you guys are not, we talk a lot about chemistry and how you develop chemistry within teams. And there is a great quote by Nick Saban where he talks a lot about if people aren't all bought into the same standard or where we're headed, it's just really hard to have chemistry on the team. And if you've worked on teams, there's not a lot of chemistry. It usually means they're not aligned on where the thing is headed. They're not aligned on like their personal visions, expectations are not aligned. And he talks a lot about how mediocre people don't like high achievers don't like mediocre people. And the takeaways for us in our company for this, without a clear culture and vision, it's really hard to have team chemistry. It just is. You can't have 18 people working together that all have different goals, different dreams, different visions. It's just really hard to have chemistry. And when you hear him talk about like the teams they've built, if you have 80 guys that want to win a national championship and you have 2 guys that want to party, those 2 groups are not going to get along with each other. And that's where he sets a very clear standard of the culture. Another one, this has been very true for us. A's want to work with A's. A's hate working with D's. A's also attract more A's. A's tend to hire A's. D's do not hire A's. D's hire F's. And the worst thing you can do to an A is put them on a team with a bunch of D's. They'll leave. So part of what we have done is we've tried to attract a lot of really early A's to the team and just listen to them and let them build the teams, right? So if you're not an Alabama fan, that's 2 things you don't have to listen to. This is one of our core values for us, and this is one of the things that's really helped us, is we cast a really clear vision and we let people self-select in or out. They either love the culture or they don't. And we're completely okay either way. But we want a very clear standard of what we look for, what type of place this is, and you're either going to have people that like that or they don't, and either is okay. So this is an exercise I use with our team to kind of talk about how I feel like a lot of companies run culture and how they set the vision. Sign up, or show of hands, if you guys saw this sign, who would go to this event? Do you have kids? Or are you just trying to get out of the house? Yeah. You will go if you have lots of kids. I would probably go for the silence, even if you sit in the parking lot in the car. But why would you not go to this event? Like, think in your head, why does this not excite you? What kind of music's one? What else? It's past his bedtime. It doesn't tell you a lot, right? So it's very undefined. So this is what I have seen in my past and my experiences. A lot of companies view culture as the details. This is the place you work. These are the hours. This is the pay. And what happens is you're not going to attract a lot of high caliber talent with this sign. And this seems kind of crazy, but this is how a lot of companies will advertise, come work here. Super sexy, right? We have the most brown carpet ever. And they'll say, this is our building. And they'll say, these are the times you show up for work. These are the times you go home. This is when you have lunch. And you're just not going to inspire a lot of people to give you their hearts and minds when you look at it that way, or when you try to attract talent that way. This is an exercise we use with our team to kind of drive this point home on what we're looking for and kind of how we look at culture. So I can't use this with our teams because they're so young They don't know who any of these people are. Does anybody know who's on the left for you guys? Metallica. We've had like 8 all hands and no one knows that works with us, right? So Metallica. Anybody know the other one? What is it? Swan Lake. I've actually had more people on our team know Swan Lake than Metallica. It's a sign of the times. It's rough. So the reason I like to show these is because which one of these is right and which one of these is wrong? It depends, right? And our teams will, and we have a lot of young people, and they'll say, well, neither one of them is right or wrong. They're just very different. They're both, like, it just depends on what you're into. And one of the things that we've used with our teams is you have to think about your team culture like music. There are different types of music. It's not that one's right. It's not that one's wrong. But if I bought tickets to Metallica and I showed up and Swan Lake was going on, I would be very upset. And you can imagine if it went the other way. There's no mosh pits at Swan Lake, right? And Warren Buffett has a quote where he talks about, like, you can advertise as a rock concert or have like a ballerina show, but you can't say you're one thing and do another, right? So at some point, good companies with strong cultures, like, they just pick a lane. And they say, this is who we are. And if you're not into this type of music, sweet, right? Because what happens if Metallica sells tickets for a show and everyone knows they're going to watch Metallica? They have the shirts on, they have the gear on, and Metallica comes out, they're very, very happy with that experience because that's what they've signed up for. And a lot of companies will say they're one thing, and when you get there, the music's very different than what was on the ticket and what you signed up for. And what I'm trying to say, and what we have learned, is whatever your music is, that has to go through everything that happens at the company. The brown desk is a result of, like, the type of music at that company. I would say this is our type of music. CJ, there's your little buddy. You don't have to memorize these. And I don't think, again, there's no like right or wrong answer, but these are the notes for us. These are the lyrics. These are our type of music. And when people will come in and they'll either read through these, they'll be like, I like this place. Or they'll say, I'm really just looking for somewhere to work over the summer to make money for beer and car payments. And we're like, sweet, you're going to Swan Lake. That's not us. That's okay. There are lots of companies that hire lots of people like that. That's fine. But you have to be aligned on, like, what's the type of music that you're signing up for. And you don't want people to feel like there's been like a switcheroo on the type of music. So these are ours. And I will say one of the reasons that this is really important for recruitment and picking a lane, picking a type of music, is because this is what employees are doing, or potential employees. Does anybody remember these? John, I know you remember these. Right? I grew up one of these. It was a Pioneer, right? They're basically listening for that signal. Right? So when they're looking at companies, they're listening for that signal. And for you guys that grew up with these, what did you do? You did this until what? Found the music you wanted to listen to and you stopped. And that's when people are looking at companies, looking at websites, they're looking on Career Builder, they're just like tuning, right? And if it's all like brown carpet, 9 to 5, hourly pay, they're just going right past that, right? The reason that it's important to pick a lane too is because that is, when you pick that lane, it decides everything that you do past that, right? So Metallica, do we have Metallica fans in here? Anybody? You are allowed to like Metallica and church. I'm sure it's played in between services. So, everything you do feeds off of the type of music you are and the band that you say you are, right? So what happens is you say that, and then you get famous, let's say for those bottom 2 albums, and then you come out with Lulu. Has anybody heard Lulu? No one has heard that album, right? And what happens when the fans hear that? They are upset. So they signed up for Master of Puppets, and then they got Lulu. And if you guys know Metallica, those are very different albums, right? And that's what happens with a lot of employees, right? They'll sign up for, like, you said I was gonna grow here. You said, like, I was gonna be part of what's going on, but when I got in there, I got Lulu, not Master of Puppets, and, like, I want my money back for the ticket. And I don't even think they play music from those albums in concerts. So this is not photoshopped. This is definitely James Hetfield wearing Kid Strong stuff. So if you think about bands produce albums, and if those albums are consistent with what you have signed up for, people are very happy. But if you produce an album that's not consistent, people are upset, right? So for us, these are our albums, and every company has these. What are your products? Are they consistent with your music? Who are your customers? Are those customers consistent with the type of music you play? How does the office look? If I signed up for Metallica and I got the brown carpet place, I would be upset. It just doesn't reflect like what I've signed up for. Big one, how we treat each other. When you interview people and you talk about, like, this is the type of company we are, we go through the core values. If an employee shows up and the way that people treat each other is not consistent with the type of music they signed up for, like, they're upset. And you start knocking these off, people quit. You might be able to get away with one, but you're not going to be able to get away with a lot. And I would say if you're a business leader, you're a team leader, you have to stop thinking about it's the pay and do we have, like, ping pong tables. It's everything. Everything you do is a reflection of your brand, period. We have a whole presentation we do with our team called Everything is Product. And we start from when somebody hears about the business, what does the customer say as a referral? And if that's wrong, that, like, starts a whole bad chain of events. Everything is product. How do you run meetings? Is it consistent with the core values? What are the core values? Do you not have core values? Core values look great on a wall, but they need to be things that people can make decisions. They need to guide decision making, period. And if all the bosses get hit by a bus and you stick within the core values, you should be 95% right. And if you don't have core values, sometimes it means, like, it's not that we don't trust you, but, like, we don't really know what our rules are. We haven't, like, set down in stone and, like, these are our 10 commandments of how the company operates. Logos and branding. We go to church at Hope. I grew up Southern Baptist church. Think, like, terrible colors, big pews, no logo design work whatsoever, signage out front, pretty rough. When we were looking for a church, Hope had a little more progressive logo. When we walk in, greeted, atmosphere, music, colors, children's program, those are all like check, 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 check. Huh? Pastor rides a motorcycle. It's not Harley anymore though, right? No. Nope, no more Harleys. You guys got to catch up. Metallica? Some. It's on between Monday and Friday. But Hope's logo actually, like, sets the standard because that might be the first thing you see when you look up the church. If you have somebody tell you about the church, they're going to look at the logo. And if you see, like, if you're like me, you see, like, an old Southern Baptist logo, Probably not gonna make it. That's just like, you just start like looking for those things, right? Branding's actually a big deal. Whatever shirts you give to your employees, if they are 100% cotton, they wash their cars with those. No one wants a Gildan. Gildan makes some good stuff. No one wants a 100% cotton shirt with a bad logo on it. It is a reflection. It's a reflection of like, what do we value? Do we value our people? Sweet, then get them good stuff. Like get them a 50-50 or tri-blend t-shirt. Not gonna wash their car with it. This is a big one. How do you argue? Has anybody worked at a good company where there wasn't disagreement? Probably not. But is it war? Or is it best idea wins? Is it okay to disagree? Young people that are coming in, they're gonna watch how the parents argue. And if when you raise your hand and say, I don't agree with this, and it's a bloodbath, they're never gonna raise their hand, ever. And you're gonna miss a lot of really good ideas. So one of our core values, like I said, best idea wins. I would say we came up with like some initial ones. A lot of the ideas we have in place now were just people coming in first week like, hey, why don't we do this? We don't know. We just started. They're like, what if we did it this way? Sweet. We're switching everything in the company over tomorrow. And the first time that happens, they're like, if I raise my hand and I have the best idea, like we put that in place, this place is awesome. If that's the type of music you are, right? How we treat our clients. If somebody calls customer service and you say you're a customer service brand and you're rude to them, or you're mean to them, it violates the rules that you have put in place with the brand. Has anybody ever had bad service at Chick-fil-A? No. Isn't that kind of crazy? Like they have 12-year-olds to like 80-year-olds. Like how do they do, like there's 80 people at a location. It's kind of crazy. Lord's Chicken, right? I also like chicken, but I like Popeye's chicken too. But when I go to Popeye's, it's Russian roulette. You never know, like this, last time I went, the screen had like a sign that handwritten, like drive around, and you just off to a bad start. When you go there, no one's got like any Popeye's gear on. Like Chick-fil-A, everybody's got like the embroidery. Popeye's like a Lakers t-shirt. So if you think about it, what do they both sell though? Chicken. And people would argue that like Chick-fil-A is not the best chicken ever, right? But why does everyone go there? Customer service. So customer service is their music. So when they're hiring somebody, does anybody know what the one thing they look for? Like number one? Servant's heart. If you don't have a servant's heart and you're really good at making chicken sandwiches, they will not hire you. Servant's heart. That's their type of music. So when you get hired there, they're listening for that music on everything. Interactions with the boss, how we treat the customers, right? And what do they always say at the end? I don't know how they get that in there, but like that is part of the training. The type of people we hire. Do you hire like really smart jerks? If a company hires a smart jerk, they're kind of drawing a line in the sand that like, we will make exceptions if you're really smart or you're a high performer. And what that does for the rest of the company is it degrades the culture across like the entire company, right? I love Jim Collins' First Who, Then What. You're going to see that in 85 different books, written 85 different ways, but just get the right people on the team and figure out what to do with them after. That's one of our rules as well. Also, how do we innovate and view ideas? If at your company you have not changed anything in the last 30 years, there is a company that was formed 45 minutes ago that is going to destroy you. Netflix went to Blockbuster and said, do you want to buy us? And Blockbuster said, "You guys are crazy. This will never work." And now there is one Blockbuster, and there's a Netflix special on that one Blockbuster that you watch on Netflix. It's kind of crazy because like up until that time, they were very dominant. But they had this thing where like, this is how we do it. We're not innovate. Like innovation was not one of their core values. So for us, innovation's heavy for us. So I tell people we operate more like a tech company that has franchises, not a franchise company that has tech. Did anybody get the first iPhone, right? How many iOS updates have happened since the first iPhone? I think there's around 12,000. 12,000 updates since the first iPhone. So if your business is the first iPhone, no one would buy the first iPhone right now. So if you don't make the updates, people will pass you over. It's the shark, right? If they don't swim, they what? They die. And then we've already talked about Gildan. We're not going to hammer Gildan, but t-shirts are a really big deal for us. We all wear the shirts. We love the shirts. Even like small things. So like our branding has sharp edges because we want to attract dads. And most kids brands have like dancing monkeys, and it's like Easter colors. And there is not a man, I've never seen a man in one of those shirts. That doesn't work there, right? So just all these things are very important. Am I getting, no? All right, so I look at a brand like Harley is a big inspiration for us too. Does this look weird to anyone? Has anyone seen somebody, if you have seen a Harley Davidson tattoo, raise your hand. You can raise them, right? That's not weird. Has anyone seen a Suzuki motorcycle tattoo? You have? Were they holding a cigarette, Mountain Dew? Right. Motocross, man. Why is one of those weird and the other one is not weird? Because that brand has a very defined type of music. And if you do that, you can do lots of different things and no one thinks you're crazy. If Harley Davidson had a bar and grill, in your head, you could probably like imagine what that looks like, right? If Suzuki had a bar and grill, you would say, Suzuki, go home, you're drunk. You don't do bars and grills. You don't even really do t-shirts, like, right? So I think this is a great Chick-fil-A and Harley in the same talk, guys. Yep. You have to emulate, these brands are winners for a reason, and there's things you can pick up from these brands. And at the end of the day, we want to build something that people want to be a part of. But you have to have a very defined type of music to attract the right type of people to build the band. You can't play drums in Metallica if you hate rock and roll. If you're going to build like a super band, you have to love the music, right? And why is this so important? It's because you will spend 1/3 of your life at work. And if you love your work, you might be 80 and ripped like this guy. 90,000 hours spent at work. And if you don't enjoy it, and you don't enjoy the music, and you enjoy the people you're working with, it's a long ride. But if you do love those things, it's a lot of fun. But at some point, every company and every team has to draw a line, and they have to say, this is our type of music. And it sucks to do it. But it gets much, much better later when you have the band. Right? Thank you.